understand about this alpha beta. If you don't understand this later on after the class, you still can ask me because you need to guide the teachers. Before I continue about the topic that we are going to share, I think it's a good idea for me to share to you the history about myself. And then the history about myself you have to do with the Carnegie, the vision and mission, what we are going to do in here. Because I'm the leader in here. So I'm the engine, so I'm the brains of this group. I graduated from America because that's almost 8 years my time in America, of course, influenced me. Okay, and I'm glad and happy I can graduate from that country. There's some positive part that I can take from there. But as I come back to Indonesia, we know there's a lot of problems. I know in America also have a lot of problems, but there's several problems that often happen in our country. Crime rate, discriminations, problems. We are fighting, we are killings in the name of religions. Okay? So that whole thing here really disturbed me, and I'm not really interested about it. To be honest with you, during 1998, when they have these big riots and thousands of people were killed, burned, and women, I hear 100, 2,000 of women were raped, I'm really, really super pissed off. I'm not really happy about it, and I'm the one that in France that, writing, putting my signatures when I'm still in Los Angeles. And I promised myself I don't want to come back to Indonesia. Okay? But when I come back, because I follow one of the teaching from the teacher, filial piety. Okay, but I come back, my heart still not in here. Okay? Somehow I was guided by the universe. I got dengue fever. Dengue fever is DVD. My first time I get into the hospital, Columbia, Asia, is 144. My thrombocytes. The next day they check again, it becomes 77. The next day they check again, it becomes 44. The next day again they check again, it becomes 22. Okay, 2 doctors come to me, and usually you go to hospital, they give you infos, right? And when I was 22, they already put blood already. Okay? And 2 doctors come. I also don't know what they say to my mom. At the end, I asked my mom to be honest with me, and 2 doctors say, if my blood still going down again, maybe tomorrow will be my last day. Okay? Shortly, the main point here, on my last day, I also don't know tomorrow how I will survive. Can you imagine you are in my situation? So I make a promise. Okay, I make a prayer to heaven. I say, if you give me a chance to live, I'm going to do something. I'm going to contribute to the society. Okay, because of that promise, that's why you see me. I'm still in education. If no, I prefer to go to the computer industry like Sir Rudy's or other field. I choose to be in education. Okay, until now, more than 20 years already. Okay, behind that. I still remember I also make another one. So I always in my mind, I want to contribute, but how? Should I use a religious flag? It's mean right now, if I use religious flag, right now this school will become a Buddhist school. Right? But I disagree with that in my mind. I believe all religions teaching is good. Only the person, the author is wrong, or they misinterpret the meanings from the books. So I need to find a way so that everybody still can practice their religions. But I need to combine them or make them united. I always have that kind of dreams and thinking, how like this? I still remember that time it was in SBA era. When SBA increased the gasoline price, Medan's in big problems. I remember it's already most of the shops already closed, and then people are doing demonstrations, and they want to go to Polonia, which is the airport. Okay, I remember I was still in school with my hate, it's like usually you can hear from the armies, what's going on. And they say butir-butir sudah berada di jalan pandu, semuanya hati-hati dan sebagainya. I was still hearing that, then suddenly, I was that time still Madong, Stanford. We still have a class that time. Still have several students and teachers in there, including me. I was in front, like guarding the main door. Parents come one by one. And when the first time I met the parents, what did I do? If you first met the parents, what do you do? Because you bow down and greet them, they even don't look at me. If right now I bow down and greet them, selamat pagi bu, usually what will they do? Selamat pagi sir, right. This is what they even not look at me. Why? They are panicked. Okay? So they basically like didn't see me at all. They panicked, they rushed in to the school and bring their kid out. Okay? And one by one they will bring all their kids. Later on, a few minutes later, our teachers, most of them are girls or women, also come out. And most of them, they are not Chinese. If they are Chinese, of course, they're scared because of 1998, not discrimination. But they are not Chinese. They also come out. Sir, can we go home also? We are also scared also. They all left me alone in that school. I was sitting that time, there's a, what do you call, swing, right? I was sitting there. And somehow I make a promise or make conversation to the universe. Please guide me. So what can I do to contribute here so that we can prevent this kind of thing happening? Few weeks later, Miss Jenny got a message from her brother in Jakarta. They say there's a seminar in Jakarta, in Malaysia. It's a teacher quiz. You want to join or not? I think it's very good. Okay? And that's my first time I joined teacher quiz. And I found out this is the answer from universe. Why? There's no religion in there. Okay, let me write down, there's no what? Religions. All the teaching is common. And all the teachings inside that book, is every religion also teach them. Let me ask from Muslim. Is it in your teaching, Muslim teach you to be filial to your parents? Okay, how about I ask Christians? Anybody from Christian? Is it also they teach you to respect and love your parents? How about from Buddhists? Same. That's why there's no religion there. Every religion all teach the same thing. So inside that book, actually, they talk about what? 5 relationships. Okay, love your parents, love your siblings, and then be trustworthy to your friends. When you go outside, you have made friends, right? You will work, be trustworthy person. I mean, don't lie, don't cheat, don't corrupt. If you have husband and wife, love your wife, love your husband, love your children. One more, what is it? Superior and subordinates. I mean, you should work what should you be responsible. If you are the leaders, take care of subordinates. So I see, this is the teaching is that there's no religions involved in that. That's good. Okay, so that's why the school here implement this. But I really need all of you. We all have to be same vision and missions. I don't want later on, some of you, I think this is religions, I don't want, this is, against my, then we have big troubles that we have to sit down and talk. I know one or two, not all, one or two of you still like this. Okay, it's so funny, I will tell to Sir Alvin, ever one time we bring one of our QC, to go to Malaysia, and she misunderstand and she think like I want to transform her to another religion, She put her books, while she sleep. So I want to tell all of you right now, I don't have any intentions to change you, to transform you to another religion. You are free, and I respect your religions. You are free to practice in this world. Okay, in fact, my first intention is to let us all united in regardless what is your name, we unite in the names of morality, in the name of goodness, in the name of kindness. Can we all do that? Okay? So you want to practice your religion, go ahead. We respect that. Okay. Now, I want to ask you first, what is this Tijukui? Some say it's simple, they say morality. Correct. But we have to look back the history of Tijukui. Just now I shared with you about the history of China. Tijukui came from China, ancient time. In ancient time, people didn't study. Most of them are farmers, most of them they are, like in India they also have what called castas. You know, in ancient time, I watched the movie and read the books, they say. If the king or the owner, or what you call tuan tanah, you know, pass away, you know, what happened to the slave or the workers? You know, they all follow him to Tom. So another word, they will leave them also alive. And this ancient time, you see. So ancient time is very chaotic, you know. There's no rules, you know. People just based on who is the strongest, who have the army, then they listen. That's why that time, the ancient time, come one wise person. His name is Confucius. So he teach people, teach them writing, teach them Mandarin, teach them words. So start that time, he's the first guy open school in China. So most of them who go to school is a scholar. They all will get influence in the teaching from Confucius. So in ancient times, they are very respectful these Confucius. But Confucius, he himself, never proclaims that he is a god. He said, tell him, I'm a teacher. Okay? So, as he teaches another Xiao Li. Has 4 means from his teaching and 8 virtues also. Xiao, Zhong, Yi. Like Xiao berbakti, Zhong kesetiaan, and then Li kesopanan. And one more is there. Sin is kepercayaan. There's 4 main books. You have 4 books, and I also teach you about 8 virtues. So 8 virtues also is nilai-nilai luhur. One of them is also virtues. Filial piety is again. Okay. Zhong means kesetiaan. You know that basically the basic of his teaching is only these 4 and 8. So you have to be shameful when you do some bad thing. You know? Okay, so he is the first teacher in China. Okay, somehow as they go on, you know, they make it. You know, funny thing about people of China, you know, like I say to you, general can become deities. You know, deities dewa. So their tradition, if someone that is their hero help them do something, they will make the statues and they will pray. So what is the purpose of they? To show their respect and sincerity, to show their gratefulness of the person. Okay, so it's not like they are praying this and mean they pray to the God. No, it's that to show their sincerity, their gratefulness, because of this person we have today in here. Okay, that's why we have the China until right now. If no China is really God, then it becomes small country. Okay, so from after 1,000 years later, come up one scholar. I forget the name. I think in our books I have mentioned about him. So of course he's a scholar. He read books from many different books, and then he summarized that become a book called Di Zigui. That's what the book that we are reading every day in this school. Okay, so that book is not a religious book. It's not teaching from the Buddhism, it's not teaching from Taoism or anything like that. Of course, this scholar, of course, get influenced by Confucius a bit, maybe God. Because that times, if you read back in the ancient times, most of the philosophers, 3 people, or 3 groups, Confucius, Taoism, and Buddhist. Okay? So he's a scholar because he read books, so many different type of books. Then he make into his own thoughts and summarize that in there. Again, it's called, the book's called 弟子规. 弟子规 is what? It's a guidelines. Paduan hidup for us. How do we live in this world? Okay? So that is the main point. But right now, when we come to the class, if we make into as a formality, then we don't get the benefit and the advantage of that. Because it has to be example and role model to our students. If no, it's the same like we are reading a poems. It's just reading a textbook. Then we will not get the benefit from this book. Okay? So, and then also, one of the method in teaching also, like our mother teach us a lot. When we are still kids, teach us a lot. How to eat, how to walk. And while teaching, maybe you will remember how to brush teeth. Did our parents just tell us one time, please brush teeth. Then after that, you will brush teeth through the rest of your life. Then what did they do? Repeat it. Repetition is mother of learning. Ibu dari segala pembelajaran adalah pengulangan. So you have to keep repeating, informing to your kid what you want them to do. You won't tell them about filial pieties. You have to become role model, and you have to also give example or story to them. And that repetition, you have to repeat that story, and you can make some varieties. Hey, this is a story, man. That people in Singapore, wow. You see the picture, show them. This is from our chapter 1. It's about filial piety. He is 70 years old. His mother is 94 years old. And then he carried the mothers from home, from the bus until the hospital, until someone take the candid camera while he's holding his mother like this. Show them. You see, this is another good example of filial piety. Tomorrow you can come up with another stories. Today, sir, meet my moms. I'm very happy today I can cook, even though it's a very simple food, simple breakfast, but I'm very happy. So I wish all of you also, you will do the same thing like this. That's the teaching from the chapter 1. You have to be like this. So it's not like, okay, alright, everybody read teacher quiz, the renounce, and we open our laptops or we open our handphones and we do our things. Then we will not get any benefit from that. Number one is show the sign that we don't respect to the ancient saints and sages, orang-orang suci. You have to be in that level, what we call that cultivation, then you can have that words. If we are not in that level, you cannot come out. If you really study Mandarin, you will know how beautiful the word, correct, like yourself? Not normal people can make that kind of things. So they themselves have to cultivate. Cultivate membina diri. There's several people what we consider as saints and sages. They will go to the jungle. They stay away from all these things. They practice themselves to be pure. So they will come up this kind of wisdom. Then they can do this kind of teaching to us. So we have to respect our what? Their hardship. Their practicing, their cultivation. So this is why in the past, the scholar, when they want to read this book, they had to raise the book up, to show the sign of respect to these teachers. But if we right now, we turn on this music, while we do our things, sometimes even disrespect, we watch movie. This really shows signs of what? Disrespect, So while if we ourselves as a role model, we not respect, then how do you expect our student to respect? To follow the teaching. Because why they not? Our teachers also not respect. Why we have to listen? It's the same side. You tell the kid, don't smoke, Smoke is not good to you. Alright? Can cause cancer. You think they will listen? They will not listen. talking about smoking, until now, I don't dare to talk smoking. But when I was a kid, I'm curious about smoking or not, of course. I just remember that time I was in my primary one. One of my eldest brother, he tell us, me and my sister, hey, come. I found the cigarette, Hey, someone give it to me. Want to try? Okay, let's try, okay? Turn it on. He smoke. try. Try. It's not nice. But why we want to smoke that time? Because of our curiosity. Children also like this. Why they want to steal? They want to do it because they are curious. Correct? We just want to know. But from curiosity later become addictions. But my father that time, unpurposely, because when I was in my junior high level, my father bought aircon that time. During that time, my era, aircon is something very luxurious. After dinner, finish, you like to turn on the aircon, sit near the aircon. Feels so good. Okay? So the best time of teaching from parents to children is usually during that time. So my father also sit in there, get the aircon. So instead of doing nothing, then my father will chit chat with me, right? So my father will do this selling. In other words, same like teacher Kui also. Do you know why Papa not smoke? My father tell me. Because that time, your grandpa, he smoked. Then one day, he coughed and he was sick and then he got cancer. And remember that time my father told me, he died on my hand. I was carrying him and he threw out, all the blood come out. And I promised myself I don't smoke. That's why I also want you not to smoke. It's not good to your health. See, my father become what? Role model. He himself never smoked. And he shared with me using what? Story. Did you repeat the story? Yes. Many times. That time I also don't know what is the effect of that story to me. Until when I was in my junior high, the 3rd year, one of my friends invited me to go to Perisai, now close to Jalan Pemuda. That time there is a machine, a game machine that you have to put the coin. Okay? So we were there, and one of my friends from his pocket take out a cigarette. Okay, everybody want. Alright, smoke, everybody smoke. And he gave it to me also. Then he light one by one the cigarettes. But that time when he want to light my cigarette, do you know what happens? My hand shaking. I don't know, it's not from me. But suddenly my hand shaking. And suddenly I hear my father's voice. Your grandpa died on my hand. Then after that I told my friend, I think I got a sore throat, I cannot smoke. I'm very sorry. I didn't touch that smoke because I was helped by my father. So this story I tell you is the same like this teacher Kui. One day, I believe that as the time they go to overseas, Singapore or Malaysia or America, they continue their educations. And then after that they work, they got influenced by the movie, they got influenced by their society, environment, they marry, they have children. Then they will have their own father and mother. Maybe their father and mothers, they are not good cultivators. They don't cultivate well, they have their bad tempers, they have their bad habits. Okay? They split with their parents. The parents stay by themselves, they stay by themselves. Maybe one day, they met up in their house, and the father or mother did something or say something. You almost want to do like this to their parents, Almost want to hit. Our teaching from teacher Kui or from our parents, it will come. They cannot want, So it will be like this. Because why? It's the same like what happened to me when father tell me about smoking. Your subconscious mind will stop there. If we can program it strong enough, they cannot do like that. They cannot lay their hand to their parents, to their fathers or their mothers. So many parents, they didn't know about these things. They might look down on it. What is that, you know? They will even not support it. Sometimes I say, why have to bother you? I have very good intention, but sometimes parents don't care. But I remember there's one story down. There's one boy, he's taking a starfish on the sand in the beach. And he picked up the starfish and he put it back to the sea. One by one, he take it, put on the sea. But there's thousands of starfish in there. So this one person came to the boy and said, what are you doing? I'm trying to save these starfish. How can you save it? You know, there's millions of it in here. You waste your time, you know, you're doing something useless thing. It's okay. But at least I can save some of them. So that story really inspired me. We cannot really save the whole world. But minimum, I start to save myself first. We all agree? And same thing, you are saving yourself first. And we also try to save several students who want to listen, or several families who want to follow. So after that, when I remember this, it became my motivations to continue until today. You know, sometimes I also feel, you know, I want to retreat. You know. What for I do all these things? Sometimes you do something, you know, people not thankful to you. Yeah. So like same thing last time we were talking about basketball here. And that has become my like burden to me. Why I want to teach them, you know? After teach them, they become good. Then a bit like they become rebellious to you. Better and then be like usual. So sometimes we need some story and motivation to enlighten us, to make us become better. Okay, that is about the teacher quiz. So I hope after I share that thing to you, okay, before that, I need to know how many of you haven't joined 5-day teacher quiz class? Please raise your hand. Really raise your hand. 5 days from Elena Wongso teacher, Elena in Samara, say. Yeah, I haven't. Okay, please. Can somebody help me, also? Yeah, haven't. Sir Josh? Ever. In Samara? Yeah. Okay, you also for sure. A lot, you know, this time is a lot. Okay, I try to contact her, Elena Wongso Lao, hopefully by, this is April, right? Either April or May, and June and July. So we cannot send off. Okay, we have to send a few of you first because some of you have class, right? So I'll discuss with QC. Okay. Again, let one also write down first.
I know your name is Miss Ira. How about you? Miss Christina.
Start from practicing it by yourself. At home, you have to respect and love your parents. At home, you have to learn to practice, you know, like all that 5 relationships. We also have to learn to be trustworthy persons. So you practice it, then you have to become a role model. Show to your kids. The best role model is through visual. Because kids mostly learn from visual, right? Correct? So this is the number one. You have to do that. After that, you have to learn the art of communications. Okay, how to deliver that knowledge, that information to your students. Like it will become a bit boring after a while. But we also may not like give up so easily. Like a mother, when you are still a kid, if your mother give up, and today we will not brush our teeth every night and in the morning. But because our mother care about our teeth, that's why they keep telling us non-stop, right? Please brush your teeth before sleep. Come on, before go to school, brush your teeth first. Keep saying this thing again and again and again. And And our mother also have to really make sure that we really brush our teeth. We as a teacher also, we have to really make sure that this. If we don't brush our teeth, then your mom will be kind of forcing you, right? Like, no, you have to brush your teeth. I'm gonna have to see you. Let me see that I brush your teeth. You have to be like this. So our champ, the first one, character building, you have to make sure this. I know some of our teachers, they really care about the math. Some of our teachers really care about the other subject. For me, if this one, we fail to teach good characters, all other lessons fail. So, like a few days ago, I ever talked to Miss Tia. Tia said, "So I don't have time, sir, because most of my class only in the morning, it's a quiz session with them and during lunch time." This morning, I was while driving, I was thinking, actually, Miss Tia, you have more time. Your lunch time is 1 hour. Where's your time? You teach them. Maybe we got the influence of the coffee. During coffee time, we say all teachers, please quiet, no talking. Correct? But this time coffee is almost ending. We are entering endemic time. So during your lunch time is supposed to be your teaching times, your sharing times. My sharing session with my son and my daughter and my wife is during dinner time, because that's the time we all sit down together. That's the time my son, especially Andy, would like to ask a few questions. Papa, why is like this? Like this morning he asked me while I was driving him. He said, Papa, what is that? H disease. I share with him. Then why people will have that kind of, gay and lesbian relationship? Then I share with him. Then you will analyze it. So meal times is the best time for us to do sharing, teaching with our students. So you have that one during lunch times. So if you have, this is why we all are in Mandarin called 发出好心. We have to come up with have good intention, good heart. Somehow we have to make a vow at this. I make a promise. I want to, do something, make something changing in our student life. When you have like this, you will come strength, energy.